Hey Vosh, I haven't heard you talk about this, so I don't know if it's relevant, but no thoughts on California making fast food worker minimum wage $20 an hour? You know, I've given this take before, and I haven't talked about it for a while because ever since Bernie Sanders lost in the 2020 primary, all hope for a better future has been dead, and we haven't talked about any progressive policy. Progressive policy over the past 4 years has been, what if we didn't all die in death camps? That's been like the exciting, adventurous, optimistic future that we're all dreaming of. But I remember back when we dreamt of something better. I remember back when the $15 an hour minimum wage was like a broader talking point. The main issue with blanket increases to the minimum wage is that cost of living varies massively, like county to county. I feel like it should probably be tied to like county average cost of living, because a $20 an hour minimum wage in California makes sense in San Francisco, Los Angeles, so on. But there are areas of California where that's a ton of money and it might, throw things off a bit. So Vosh, were means testing wages? Well, yeah, right. I mean, it wouldn't make very much sense if you had the same minimum wage in like New York City as opposed to like a rural area of Minnesota, obviously, right? Because if the minimum wage gets raised that much over there, all of the complaints about, oh, we can't afford to pay our workers this much, that might not be true in a place that is in Los Angeles or, New York or whatever. But that might actually be true in a rural Minnesotan, area. This is from the end of last year. New California laws raise the minimum wage for two industries. Others could see pay hikes too. Well, that's nice. California-based fast food workers for chains with 60 or more locations around the nation will earn at least $20 an hour beginning in April, $4 higher than the overall state minimum wage of 16. See, this to me is a bit better because it only applies to chained fast food restaurants that can share the wealth. Then again, you franchise a lot of these, But would it not raise the quality of life increase over time if the minimum wage is increased gradually? Not necessarily, right? It's not a dial you can just turn up to increase the quality of living necessarily. It's a matter of proportioning it to the cost of living in the area because you don't want to throw the economy out of balance. And to be clear, the reason you don't want to throw the economy out of balance isn't because we have to preserve capitalism, blah, blah. It's because there are like legitimate economic consequences to poor fiscal policy that negatively affect everyone. The most obvious of which would be obviously like there are limits with regards to printing money that can cause inflation. Inflation, if it runs rampant, that could be very harmful. But you also don't want to like skew the availability of cash in certain areas too far in one direction all of a sudden, because if you do that, you can create local imbalances that cause people to, say, lose their jobs, and that can be really, really bad in areas that don't have a lot of jobs to go around. Wouldn't you create a sort of brain drain in counties that pay people less than other counties? Sure, but those counties also have higher costs of living, right? Yeah, Subway sucks, Poblano. I read somewhere that 50% of the inflation we have since the start of the pandemic has actually been from corporate profits, and you would be correct. Yes. Whenever prices rise, the question is, are these prices rising because the cost of producing this product and giving it to you has gone up, or because they want more money? Usually when inflation starts ramping up, the corporations think, well, things are going to cost more anyway because the cost of producing these products is going up. So why not skim a little extra off the top and raise the price of selling them, or raise their price more than they would be raised purely by relying on shifts in the, you know, but Vosh, I heard from pit crew lefties online that money doesn't exist. Well, they are correct. That is true. That's not wrong. Money is fake. It's not real. It's a devilish invention designed to distract you from what really matters. Which is what? Fashion? Bitches. The two new laws are expected to trigger pay increases for nearly 1 million Californians, some of whom are earning more than minimum wage today. They are going into effect in a competitive labor market that has seen employers, especially small businesses, struggle to hire and retain workers. Okay, if employers are struggling to hire and retain workers in an era of record corporate profits, would that not imply that this is in fact a demand side issue? Like that they need to offer more pay? Is that not like an implied, yeah, pay or better benefits? That would be supply, not demand. I mean, it depends on whether you're supplying a job or demanding labor, right? Like it could work either way. Because I'm a good Marxist, I tend to think of it as them demanding labor, but I suppose either way works. Burritos and Big Macs to cost more in California as pay rises. Bullshit. Hey, the Wall Street Journal. Hello. Grubby. We've literally done studies on the relationship between increases in minimum wage and the cost of goods increasing. And the results are just not... Oh. I'm not getting a Wall Street Journal subscription. Get out of here. Get out of here. Here we go. It's here, Fox News. An excellent and unbiased source on whether or not increasing the quality of life of workers is going to somehow, in some nebulous, ethereal way, hurt the economy.
I want to bring up another subject that's related.
Yeah.
We're going to see minimum wage workers get an increase in 22 states starting in the new year. In California, one of the states where we're going to see that minimum wage increase, Pizza Hut is now laying off delivery drivers ahead of that $20 minimum wage increase. Kevin, I want to get your reaction to that.
California, and I just have to tell it the way it is the most mismanaged state in the union. Incredibly weak executional skills at the municipal level. Look at San Francisco, it's a war zone. And the state is mismanaged. When you put policy...
California mentioned, time to rattle off like 16 unrelated culture war talking points that I have. Hey, have you heard that San Francisco is dirty? Have you heard, guys, have you heard that? I know we're talking about minimum wage increases, but, you know, hey, have you heard that?
In place like this, which make the average business in America, which is small business, 5 to 500 employees, that's 60% of the jobs we create in this country, it makes it impossible for them to stay in business. This is bad. That's
true. California, the state with the largest economy and one of the largest economies in the world, just on its own without the rest of the United States, you know, in the dumpster.
And policy administered by weak managers. I'm sorry, I don't invest in California, I don't invest in New Jersey, I don't invest in New York, I don't invest in Massachusetts. I put my money into Florida and...
Okay, so this guy's literally nothing to say. This guy's literally just like, oh, workers are going to get treated better there. Ah, that's why California's failing, even though it's not failing. I trust Ron DeSantis. You were on Shark Tank. This dude was on Shark Tank. He looks evil. This guy looks like the bad guy in like a children's Nickelodeon movie. This is like some Spy Kids villain shit. You know what I mean? Like this guy looks like typecasted as the evil businessman. This guy definitely killed a guy with a boat and got away with it. He also looks like the kind of guy who would do that. So yeah, this guy, just empty talking points, just like, you know, whatever. Fast food prices set to rise at McDonald's, Chipotle. Okay, is there anything here that indicates those companies are saying they're doing it because of the increase in the minimum wage? And if so, why do we trust them? Several major fast food franchises, including McDonald's and Chipotle, have already signaled that prices will have to rise in response to the increased labor costs. Everyone is going to have to pay more, Jack Hartung, chief financial officer of Chipotle, said in the Wall Street Journal. Is that so? Is that true? Is that true? Chipotle corporate profits. $2.4 billion over the previous 12-month period ending in September 30th, 2023, a 27.6% increase year over year. And the year before that had a 20.8% increase from the year prior to that. That evil boatman spewing random shit about California once ran to be a political party leader in California. Oh, is that why he's bitter? Wait, in Canada, not California. Sorry. Your country is so irrelevant that my mind blurred out everything after the first two letters. There we go. What, dude, why does Canada keep sending its worst down here? Why? I love how anytime anything might improve the quality of life for the working class, the immediate go-to for all journalistic organizations, not just Fox, mind you, all of them, is to go ask the chief financial officer of the person incentivized to pay his workers less. Like, it's such great journalism, dude, that's the go-to. Like, rather than any kind of financial expert or economist who's talking about the impact of wage increases on inflation or whatever else, like, no. We're just going to ask the one guy whose job it is to push back against this kind of policy. Hartung told the Journal in November he expects Chipotle's labor costs to rise in the 15 to 20% range, which he said is significant enough that it puts a dent in our economics. I mean, I don't know, record profits. Los Angeles dessert shop announces sudden closure of location, cites cost of business in California. Dude, all you have to do to get an article on Fox News is anytime your business fails in California, all you have to do is go, hey, this is because of wokeness. And immediately you get the article. That's it. Sweet Lady Jane Dessert Shop announced the closure of 6. Dude, businesses close everywhere. Wait, I'm sorry. It's playing audio. Stop playing audio. There you go. It's playing, businesses close everywhere all the time, you know? Wait a second. I've been here. At the Beverly Hills location, I'm pretty sure. Did it suck? I don't know. It was ages ago. It was probably pretty good. Wall Street Journal says to be thankful for high drug prices. Be thankful for high drug prices. If Americans weren't overcharged, we wouldn't have innovative treatments. Dude, I feel like we are... Gravity is pulling us back to a Machiavellian, like, 16th century attitude towards the peasantry, you know? The job of the aristocracy is to justify the aristocracy, right? That is the first task of every institution, which is to defend itself. And in this case, the bourgeoisie, as an institution, are trying to fulfill that role. I know Cali has its issues, but how do Republicans defend shitholes like Alabama or Mississippi? They don't talk about them, is how. Whenever there's a problem in any southern state, they implicitly blame the black people in that state. Whenever Republican leadership fails in those states, or up, or does anything like monstrously bad, they just don't talk about it. That's one of the reasons why so much attention has gone to Ron DeSantis lately. Florida is the only red state that's had any real rise in recent history. Because of the big boom in like people traveling over there, and now that boom is done. People are now like it's slowed down. Rent costs are skyrocketing. Insurance companies aren't doing business there. What about Texas? The problem with Texas is that the only interesting things happening in Texas are happening in their blue cities. That's the main issue, you know? The overall population might skew enough to get Greg Abbott elected, but the actual, like, interesting stuff happening in Texas is almost entirely a product of its blue, like, strongholds, you know? And that's not going to change anytime soon. Is Dallas a blue city? Yes. Dallas, Austin, Houston, the major cities in Texas are blue to varying extents, with Austin being the most blue, I think. Every city is a blue city? Yeah, I mean, to a large extent, yes, but to varying extents, you know? Have I ever been to Texas? Yes. Since 1991, all U.S.'s new drugs were 100% government funded. Yes, never forget that with pharmaceuticals, almost all of the real hard research is done by public institutions off of grant funding from the government. The job of private corporations is to take that and make a marketable product, but they're doing it off of technology that was developed, you know, off of public funding. Like, you can look at the process for researching mRNA vaccines, you know, what allowed us to get the COVID vaccine out so quickly. Thanks to decades of research and innovation from who? Whatever, we've talked about it before. By the way, that guy on Fox was stopped from being in office for having $500,000 in debt during his campaign. For a lot of these people, all of life is a grift. At the time of the lawsuit, O'Leary still owed $430,000 to creditors. God damn. Well, I wish the People's Republic of California all the luck in the world in raising the wages of their fast food workers. He's also from Montreal. That's how you know he's evil. With a name like O'Leary? Wild. I thought we got all the Irish. He's Irish? With a name like O'Leary. Really, is that true? It's like a cartoon name. Also, this also does sound like a children's movie villain name. You know? Because they always go with really exaggerated names.